This is just a big game of what if, okay? But if we're playing what if over here, and I ask you, what would it take for you to take a dive? You're a fighter, you're going in front of the world, this is your dream, and you're gonna do the JOB. You've worked your whole life. You've told all your buddies how tough you are. They're all going to tune in. You're going to go out and take the loss. Now, the one thing that you can't do is you can't ever go back to your buddies and go, no, I'm better than that. I let him do that. You're going to have to keep it a secret forever. So now you're going to lose. You're going to risk everything, your own integrity as well as your own dreams. They're all gone. You're going to sell them. You're selling your soul. How much do you charge? Now, hold on. While you're thinking about that, let me ask you a different question. How much would you pay to have your dream come true? So now we're going to fix a fight. We're going to fix a fight, except you don't have to go down. I'll go down. But you got to pay me. How much are you willing to pay? And do you see where that becomes very weird? I mean, let's just say that you were in a fight, and this actually happened. This happened in a boxing fight. It was two heavyweights, and I can see them in my head, and I can't produce the name for you, but this actually happened. These two guys are boxing, and this guy tells him it's not going his way, and he's the favorite. He's supposed to win, and this other guy, he was just simply in better shape, and he's beating him up, and the heavyweight says to him, I'll give you 75 grand. I'll give you 75 grand to go down. And the guy says, no, run. He digs in and he hits him a little more. He says, I'll give you $100,000, but I need you to go. He was getting tired. He was getting tired, and he had a big payday if he could win this thing. It was like a #1 contenders fight. If you want to go look it up, maybe it was even a championship fight. I don't believe so. I believe the guy that was supposed to win that ends up getting exhausted, which is the number one reason people lose in combat, just needed to win that night, and wherever that was going to take him was going to that was the one that this was all about. He just needs this guy to not do this upset. And he upsets. He says, I'll give you $100,000. And pretty soon a conversation happens. Pretty soon the guy responds, and it goes from no to not enough. And the referee hears this. The fight ends. Now, I just want to ask you a question. If the guy was going to let you win, if the guy was going to put you over, your dream's going to come true. You're the one that's going to move on. You're going to move through the bracket. You're going to look doing it. You're going to have the stress. You're going to have the relief. You're going to have the whole thing. So I'm kind of asking you the opposite question, right? Originally it was, what would it cost for you to take a dive? And I realize this is a silly game, and I realize I would never do it. We're just playing a game. What would it cost for you to take a dive? All right, but now let's the other way. What would you pay to win? And are your values compromised to the same degree? Are your values and your morals compromised to the same degree? You didn't bring the conversation up. They brought you the conversation. I am willing to go down. I just need 10 grand when this is all over. Well, you just got put in a spot, didn't you? You just got put in a spot that you never thought that you'd be in. Interesting. Play with that for a minute. Now let me ask you a different question. Do you know what insider trading is? Now, insider trading is one of the colossally easy crimes to commit. The average American commits 2.5 imprisonable felonies a year. It just doesn't know he's doing it. Just simply doesn't know. There's so many laws and so many rules. He's just out living his life, and they say commit 2.5 imprisonable felonies. So, do you know what insider trading is? And this is another one of those. So if you have somebody that works in a publicly traded company, now perhaps they work on Wall Street, that would count. Perhaps they work at a hedge fund, that would count. Perhaps they're in banking on a manager level or executive, that would count. But perhaps they work at a company. Let's go with Tesla. Let's go with Exxon. Let's go with McDonald's, a publicly traded company. They work there and they know something. It could be good or bad, but they know something that is known as a material fact. So you then make a play based on that information, inside information. Now, maybe you bet it's going to win. You buy the stock and think it's going to go up. Maybe you do a put. Maybe you short it. Think it's going to go down. But either way, you made a play based on inside information. Do you know that you could get that secondhand? Did you know you could be at a coffee shop and two strangers are having a conversation and you're there by yourself and you overhear a conversation? And one of them says, and you go make a move on that. Do you understand that that is a federal crime? So then you start to come down to insider information in gambling. And that's what we're dealing with right now. Now, there was a referee that went down. He was caught, he was convicted, he took the plea. It was pretty tough. He was a very well-known referee in the NBA. Patrick Bet-David just brought him on as a guest last week to talk about Chauncey Billups and the other guys that are going through the NBA. And the referee that had gone down for betting and sharing inside information so that other people would bet, he just kind of knew who was hurt. He was just around. He would hear from guys, or he'd be in the back giving them a pre-fight speech, and he'd see like who was icing their shoulder. And he would just kind of see some stuff. And sometimes he would bet it. He'd go, hey, man, this guy looks hurt. And they're really counting on him. Guys, he's in the back, and he's icing his knee. But that was then viewed inside information. Or if he made a call and told one of his buddies, hey, Scottie Pippen's not going to be playing much tonight. Right, I'm making names. Hey, Scottie Pippen's not going to be playing much tonight. MJ's not going to have him to pass to or set him up on those layups. This is going to be a very different game. So let's say somebody went and they made a bet and they happened to win, but they did it based on that. It's inside information. And this guy went down for that. And you might think, hey, that's not a lot. Okay, fair enough. I'm just letting you know what the rules are. So a number of these guys in the NBA that were doing these prop bets, a number of them were making sure the prop bet came in against them by simply coming out of the game. There would be prop bets to the star of the game. Will he score over or under 19 points? Of course he's going to score over 19 points. The guy averages 36 points. Well, to make sure that he doesn't do it, his shoulder hurts. He comes out of the game in the second quarter. He doesn't get enough playing time to get 19. But it doesn't matter how well he was playing. He doesn't even play enough time. Which, by the way, happens to be another prop bet. How many minutes will he play? Over, under. Will he play the third quarter? Will he play more than 4 minutes of the fourth quarter? These are all prop bets. So a guy can come in and he can clean up. He can get like 6 of them at one time by simply coming out of the game. And this is what they're being accused of doing, amongst other things. So now we know that this is imprisonable, and we know that this is illegal if you have inside information. And by the way, allegedly it qualifies if a guy is hurt. I don't get it. I couldn't care less. And if you ever found out I was hurt, it wouldn't make one bit of difference. And I don't say that to pat myself on the back. I can fight hurt. I'll fight you with a broken arm. And by the way, I won't do any better or worse than if my arms were healed. It makes absolutely no bit of a difference for me. I'm just sharing it for me. But now we got guys in MMA that are doing this left, right, and center. And at one point, do you have a problem? I mean, at what point is there a problem? We're having guys in the only sport regulated by the government, which is ours, and they fill out a form under penalty of perjury. And not only does the government look under the hood, the government doesn't just kick the tires, take your word for it. They're going to check the fuel tank. They're going to check that exhaust. They're going to check that muffler, and they're going to check that fan belt. They're not going to just trust you. They're going to verify. And when all of the verification that medical and science allows them to do is done, they're then going to ask you a question. Is there anything that we don't know? They're going to ask you straight up, very simple terms. Are you hiding any injury from us that we didn't find? And fighter after fighter signs that form. And fighter after fighter loses and comes out on Monday telling people that they were hurt. Telling people, I committed perjury. I lied to the Attorney General. I lied on a sport that would be impacted at least according to some with inside information, because I was hurt. I'm not like Chael. I don't fight the same whether I feel good or I don't feel good. I'm not like that at all. I am completely mentally checked out. Knowing my shoulder hurt, I just really needed to get that paycheck. At what point does it become a problem? At what point does it become a crime? The fighter's coming out and saying I was hurt. Okay, great. Well, the receptionist at the doctor's office where you did the MRI, turns out that she's dating a cage fighter. So she happens to mention to him that you came in the office and was very exciting. And was a little surprised because your MRI shows that your shoulder needs surgery. That cage fighter goes and he places a bet. He has inside information. And the bet ends up cashing because you didn't fight to the best of your ability. You see where this becomes a problem? And do you see where words matter? And these fighters are continually trying to come out and say that I was hurt. And I am continuing to try to make sure that you very clearly hear the words that I'm not saying. I'm trying to get you there. And we have fighters, and we have managers, and we have cornermen who continually come out with statements that, if true, potentially propose very big problems. I'm trying to make you aware of the climate that we're in. I'm trying to make you aware of the claims that were made about a fight in the octagon over Saturday and the claims that are being made by the FBI about the NBA and a coach that lives 21 miles to my left. And it's called inside information. And if an athlete is hurt, it's very important that you disclose it. And if you're a tough guy and you're going to take that approach, it's very important that you take whatever your information and whatever your truth is. It's very important that you take that with you to the grave.